Hello, everyone, and welcome into The Breakdown. I am Ted Johnson, and we have an excellent show for you tonight. And you're probably wondering, where's my partner, Phil Perry, at? Well, my man is out in Arizona, out into the desert right now. I am so jealous. He's coming live from Tucson, Arizona, where the Patriots will be practicing all week. Philip, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Ted. I'm in the shadow of the house that Brewski and Gronkowski and Nick Folk, yes, Nick Folk, built here in Tucson with the team all week. Really big win for the Patriots last night over the Arizona Cardinals, going into this week away from home, Ted. That's something you never did as a player. How beneficial do you think this trip could be with the Patriots looking at the home stretch of their 2022 season?
You know, Phil, considering that they won that game last night, I mean, it could mean a lot, right? So these guys are away from their families. If you're going to be away from your families during the season, you're going to sacrifice like that, make it count, and go win the football games. And they did that last night. So it's a good feeling going into this Raiders game coming up Sunday, Phil.
Really critical victory based on where this team was at after two really tough losses against the Vikings and Bills. And they did it despite seeing a lot of their players go down. Devin McCourty, Jack Jones, Devontae Parker all had to leave this game against Arizona with injuries. They also lost Ramondre Stevenson, but they got some key contributions from a pair of rookie running backs. Here's Mac Jones talking about the two young bucks out of the backfield last night on Monday Night Football.
Obviously, Mondre went down. He's one of our best players. So those guys stepped up, and obviously with Damian out, they had to step up. And the thing I told them was, for Kevin, you know, it's just like SEC football. So go out there and do your thing. And you've played against really good teams, and that's what it is. And Pierre is the same thing. A young guy, but he's really fast, uses his speed well. So they did a great job, and they're going to have to step up again, and Marcus and everybody. So the rookies definitely did a great job, and super proud of them. And they just want to help the team win, so that's what we're trying to do.
Mac Jones said that Kevin Harris and Pierre Strong stepped up big, and they sure did. Entering Monday night, the pair had played a total of 18 snaps all season, but against the Cardinals, both found the end zone. Strong's 3-yard run put the game out of reach, but it was Harris who got the Patriots on the board. And speaking of the board, it's time for Board Games presented by John Sewer and Drain Cleaning, the name to know when the drains don't flow. Ted, my friend, take it away.
Okay, Phil, this was a big play in the game. The Patriots aren't on the board yet. They are on the Cardinals' 14-yard line in the red zone going in. And I have come on in. The Patriots run a draw play. Come on in. What does that mean? When the offense is running a draw play like this Kevin Harris draw play that I'm about to show you, you're inviting these defensive linemen and these linebackers to get upfield and to come on in, take them where they want to go so that you can have creases and lanes for the running back to hit. And the Patriots execute this to perfection. They killed the Cardinals. They're a very undisciplined front seven, a very overly aggressive front seven. These guys don't want to two-gap and sit there and play the run. They want to get upfield, and they want to get to Mac Jones. And so you use their undisciplinedness and their over-aggressiveness against them and crease them for a big game, for a touchdown, and this is exactly what they did. So the Patriots, they have two receivers to the left. That brings the corners in the over here, so it brings guys out of the box. The quarterback, he counts 7 guys in the box. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 guys in the box means to run. If there are 8 guys in the box, that's when you pass. So Mac Jones correctly sees that, hey, we got the numbers advantage. And so he calls a draw here, and they run it to perfection. So what happens on this play? At the snap of the ball, you got Zach Allen, you got J.J. Watt, 2 very athletic defensive linemen, and they just want to get upfield, okay? Get upfield. They don't want a two-gap. These guys get upfield perfect. They're taught to take them where they want to go. Mike Onwenu does a great job of taking J.J. Watt where he wants to go, which is up the field, okay? David Andrews does a great job of taking Zach Allen up the field. So there's creases right here. You have Trent Brown does a great job of sealing off that linebacker. The right tackle does a great job on this linebacker who gets up the field because he's undisciplined. And then you have Hunter Henry doing a great job of sealing right here. And then Kendrick Bourne, this is the finishing block right here, takes this cornerback and drives him in. And so now you have this lane, okay? There's not a wall anymore. It's a lane for Kevin Harris just to get the ball. He side shuffles, and then he comes up, gets the ball, and right there he's got all these little creases to work through. Here's the thing. There's 2 unblocked guys, the safety and the cornerback on this play. One of them's got to make the play. Neither of them make the play. This safety misses, and he drags this cornerback in. Kevin Harris does a great job of being physical at contact, and the Patriots execute the draw play to perfection, get 7 points on the board, and they are rolling from that point on.
So that's what the Patriots did in the running game. But how about the passing game? We've got some numbers on Hunter Henry here, presented by your New England Ford dealers and Ford trucks, built Ford tough. Mac Jones, not a whole heck of a lot in the way of pushing the ball down the field on Monday night, except for 2 big plays to Hunter Henry, his big tight end. He had a 30-yard reception that led to a field goal and a 39-yarder that set up a touchdown. And that brings us to the Monday Night Spotlight presented by the Oakers Company, proud sponsor of the New England Patriots. And Ted, my question for you is, was the Patriots' conservatism in the passing game, was that more about the Cardinals and the blitzing nature of their defense, the fact that they do have some playmakers up front, including J.J. Watt? Or is that more about the Patriots? Is this Bill Belichick and Matt Patricia just saying to themselves, we can't trust our passing game to push it down the field because that's when we get into trouble? What say you?
Well, I think that's a good question, because I think you could really make an argument that you got to take serious consideration on both points. I just think the Cardinals, the way they play, are very undisciplined. They like to rush upfield. You can get a lot of cheap yards from them, being conservative and not taking shots down the field. And as much as they blitz, I just think with the issues with the offensive line, I can understand why they had a little bit more of a conservative game plan. But I say that to say, Phil, it was so real. I mean, it was so conservative, really. I mean, too many 3rd and long situations to try and get out of. And so they have to. You know it. You've been saying it for the longest time, Phil. They got to get back to kind of what they were doing at the beginning of the season, is taking shots down the field and keeping those guys in that box a little bit more honest.
It doesn't feel like a winning formula, at least against good teams. Obviously, they won last night. They got some help from their defense with the ability to score a touchdown on that scoop and score from Raekwon McMillan. Those types of plays, whether it's on the defensive end or in the kicking game, are massive for this team, but you don't want to have to rely on those. So it just felt to me like the Patriots really were reluctant to get it down the field, even though it worked for them on some of those Hunter Henry plays, and you don't need all the time in the world to push it down the field necessarily. On that 39-yarder to Henry, Mac Jones had the ball in his hands for about 2 seconds. That is pretty quick in today's NFL. So I think the Patriots have enough up front to be able to test their limits down the field a little bit more often than they have. Now, over the last couple of weeks when they've needed a play in the passing game, they've gone to a rookie defensive back, Marcus Jones. Unbelievable what this guy has done for the Patriots of late. A jack of all trades. Take a look at what he did last night in Arizona. He played 8 offensive snaps and had a 12-yard reception. A huge contributor on defense with an interception, another pass breakup, and 8 tackles when the Patriots needed help in that cornerback group because of injury. Plus, his usual role as the Patriots kick and punt returner. Ted, it stood out to me what Mac Jones said about Marcus Jones after the game. He called him a leader. This guy's only a rookie, and he's not the loudest of speakers in that locker room. But given everything he does and the amount of effort that it takes, it's pretty clear he's already garnered a lot of respect from his teammates.
Yeah, it's obvious. I mean, the way he conducts himself, very humble, comes from, very much from a humble place. And so you can tell he's a grateful kid and is happy to be here. And the way he contributes and doesn't ask, he doesn't push back. Whatever you want, Coach. I mean, 8 offensive snaps. I mean, that was a pretty advanced kind of package they put out for him. Is really impressive when you consider they had him a lot of times, Phil, lined up across from DeAndre Hopkins in the game last night. And then is what we know what he does with special teams. So this kid is a gem that they found in the 3rd round this year.
He's throwing his body around in the secondary, laid a huge hit on a Cardinals tight end. He locked down DeAndre Hopkins on one snap inside the red zone. And then when he's used on offense, they're using him on orbit motions. They're sending him on the move in order to force reactions from the opposing defense because he's already put on tape that this guy has speed. And yes, the Patriots will give it to him. So he looks like an impact player, really, in 3 phases of the game. Bill Belichick has to love that.
Kyler is different than a lot of quarterbacks in the league, and he's definitely different than Colt. And so with that, you playing differently. We playing for Colt McCoy. We know Kyler is QB1. I think everybody knows that. But you also playing for this stuff to happen. And so we watched him. He played a couple games and started a couple games. So we also watched film on him.
Ted, the game had barely started before Kyler Murray goes down, non-contact injury, hate to see it, torn ACL. He's done for the rest of the year. But I want to ask you, as somebody who's been in those shoes before as a player, when the starting quarterback for the other team goes down, how difficult, how challenging is it to shift maybe your game plan depending on the skill set of the backup? Obviously, the backup is the backup for a reason. But what kind of challenge does that present to an opposing defense?
Yeah, it depends what the stylistically what the backup is. I mean, if it's clearly a non-athletic backup, it's usually not that big of a deal. But I knocked out a very non-athletic quarterback, Chris Chandler, back in the day, and then Mike Vick came in, and we didn't know what the heck we were doing. And so it can work against you. But in this case, here's the thing: Kyler Murray, I think, was the best option they had, and when he went down, that really took a lot of the air out of the sails for the Arizona Cardinals. You could tell.
I think you're right, Ted, although it did look like it maybe took a moment for the Patriots to adjust because Colt McCoy, not totally incompetent right off the bat when he came into this game. Obviously, he's a guy with a lot of experience in this league. Patriots defense kept the Cardinals off the scoreboard on their final 7 possessions of the game, despite the fact that the McCoy-led offense did pretty well early on. Here's how they did it: 6 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. The Cards were just 4 for 14 on third down, and 1 of 5 on fourth down. And that brings us to our next breakdown. Once again, it's time for board games presented by John Sewer and Drain Cleaning, the name to know when the drains don't flow. Ted, take it away, big man.
Okay, Phil, this is a play that everyone's talking about today. The big play in the game, this 4th and 1 play. The Arizona Cardinals, they have the ball on the Patriots' 32-yard line right before the end of the first half. They decide they're going to go for it on 4th and 1. Instead of kicking a field goal, they don't get it. As we all know, it's a 6-point swing because the Patriots get a field goal right before half. And I think this was the play that probably did the Cardinals in. The Patriots do a great job of executing this, particularly Jelani Tavia right here on the edge does a nice job of sniffing this out. But fast to flat. What does that mean? Fast to flat. So 4th and 1, got to have it. A lot of teams like to pressure the edges. They like to get guys out fast to the flat. You see the Kansas City Chiefs all the time trying to use their speed to outflank guys and out-leverage guys to the flat on these short down and distances because it's just a tough cover. And what they did here, they have their tight end. The Cardinals have their tight end, Trey McBride, kind of hidden in here. It's a wide receiver tight end here, and then Trey McBride right here. They kind of hide him in there to hopefully that the coverage kind of gets lost in the wash, okay? And Jelani Tavia does a great job of not getting fooled. He gets out leverage for a second, but he recovers. So here's the play. The Patriots, they bring 6 guys and drop 5 guys in zone. So it's a zone blitz. Jabril Peppers from this side. Matthew Judon from this side. They all blitz. So it's a full-out blitz from this side. But the Cardinals do a great job. They run play action with a half-boot rollout to this side. So they fake the run there. And then Colt McCoy runs a half boot over here. So away from the pressure that's coming over here. So it's a really good call. What they're hoping on this play is to get Trey McBride, the tight end, to engage Jelani Tavia right here quickly, get him thinking that it's going to be a run, and then slip him out to the flat really fast, okay? And there is, for a split second, a space there. But Jelani Tavia does a great job. He bites on the play fake for a second, and then he recovers and he turns and he sees that the quarterback's going to throw it to this tight end, and he's able to recover just enough to get his hand and tip the ball away for a turnover on downs. It was this kind of play that the Patriots defense did all night. Fast to the flat. It's a MOBP, missed opportunity for a big play for the Cardinals, but the Patriots executed perfectly. Cardinals don't get their 3 points. Patriots are able to go down and get 3 points right before half. Cardinals never sniff the end zone again the rest of the night.
It's time for the report card. My report card is presented by the Massachusetts School of Law. As always, you can check out all the reasoning behind these grades on NBCSportsBoston.com. But for now, we're going to stay focused on that A for the linebackers. Josh Uche and Matthew Judon combining for 4.5 sacks last night. And of course, Tavia with that huge pass breakup on 4th down. And that brings us to Ted-Nique, which is presented by Shaw's perfecting the art of fresh. And this is about the time in the show where Ted likes to get his hands on me, throw me around the studio. But this week, with me out of town, Tom Giles is stepping in. So we're going to let Giles step in and take his beating. Thoughts and prayers, bud.
Yeah, thanks, Phil.
Thank you, Philip. Of course, we got the great Tom Giles out here, happy to help every single week, and we appreciate that. that. We're just going to kind of reenact the play that we just showed on board games, all right? That was a big play, the 4th-and-1 play. I was a little surprised they went for it, Giles, in that situation when you're in field goal range, but that's what they do, and it blew up in their face. So it was a 4th-and-1 play, a very fast to the flat route from the tight end. Jelani Tavia does a really good job. Outside linebacker. They just re-signed him to a new 2-year deal this year. He's a real savvy linebacker. It's a very difficult cover. He's got the flat in this cover. It's a zone blitz, and he's dropping on this. He has to play the run, but also play the pass. And what teams like to do in short down and distances, they like to run play action, so it can really put guys that are covering guys on the line of scrimmage in man-to-man in a really difficult situation. So let's just show kind of what happened. Giles is going to play the tight end that hits me and then releases Trey McBride, and I will be Jelani Tavia, the outside linebacker, and just kind of show you what happened and the good job that Jelani Tavia does in recovering to make the play. All right, here we go, Giles, right here on the first down. He comes out, he hits, and then he releases. Here's the thing, Jelani Tavia, he is supposed to cover this guy. He bites on the run for a split second, and then once the receiver gets past him, go ahead, Giles, keep going. He turns and he goes right to the receiver. He knows the ball's going to him. This play is designed to go for him, and he doesn't look back. He goes right, and then right at the last second, when he sees the hands go up to catch the ball, put your hands up to catch the ball, he turns and tips the ball, knocks the ball out of bounds. It's a turnover on downs. Thank you, Giles. And it was a big momentum swing. The Patriots go down, score 3 points, 6-point swing from that one play. And that was a heads-up play by the outside linebacker, and good job by the Patriots to sift that play out. Good job. What do you think, Phil? Not bad from the Patriots defense on a lot of these 4th down plays.
Not bad at all, Ted. And heady, that's the word that comes to me when it comes to Jelani Tavia. Not necessarily going to be making a splash play every single week, but he has size, which you know Bill Belichick loves, and he's a smart player, which you know Bill Belichick loves. And you mentioned it, but he gets that extension mid-season from Belichick. Really, I guess, for those of us that have watched Belichick for years, it should come as no surprise.
The biggest thing for me is not letting it affect my play and bringing the best out of my guys. So today I thought we all did a good job with trying to play the next play, play the next series, and Matty P did a great job. He's trying to call the game so that we can win, and sometimes it might be this thing that people don't know about, like the quick passes for whatever reason, and that's our game plan. So we knew that's what we had to do to win, and he called a great game and stayed calm. Matty P is a very calm person, very stoic, and we're just going to continue to grow together and do what we can to win games.
Ted, I think it's pretty clear that frustration has just boiled over. This thing has been building up really since training camp, and we're watching it play out in real time on national television, whether it's the quick game complaints or the game management issues that the Patriots had last night, using a timeout before the 3rd play of the second half, having trouble getting the play calls in. What was interesting to me was Matt Patricia today telling reporters, I love that show of emotion. That stuff is great. Ted, do you believe him?
I don't, Phil, because I think it can be detrimental, and I think it can, be undermining maybe what the offensive coordinator is trying to do. So I can't imagine that he's okay with it, honestly. And it's interesting, Phil. I mean, that Mac hasn't backed down from this kind of this I don't know, this role, if you will, of being the guy that kind of calls out the coaches publicly. I just think that Mac has a lot of cred in the locker room, and if there's going to be anybody that's going to be the voice of the disgruntled on the offensive side, Mac is saying, I'll do it, I'll take the arrows, and I'll be the guy that does that. And so, whether or not, it doesn't seem to have any effect on these coaches, though, because you see the same offenses week in, week out. But clearly, I think he's representing the frustration as a whole for that whole unit.
I think you're right, Ted, because I spoke to Kendrick Bourne, who was clearly very frustrated after the Bills lost last week, and he has backed off of some of those really strong comments that he had after that game at Gillette Stadium. He said that he and the coaches are in a good place right now, and that those comments came from a good place. He's just emotional. He wants to win, just like everybody else in that room, and so there's a back and forth that needs to be had. Sometimes you do have hard conversations, is what he told me. Sometimes the coaches have to yell at us. Sometimes we have to tell them how we feel. So I do think there's still something there, Ted, because you scored 20 points against one of the worst defenses in football. It's clear that they still don't have everything figured out here. How about the Patriots playoff picture here? After last night's win, they are back into playoff position. 7th place in the AFC with the tiebreaker over the Jets and the Chargers, but a tough schedule ahead. Raiders, Bengals, Dolphins, Bills. Ted, can the Patriots get in with the way they're playing right now?
The way they're playing right now, no way. No way, no how can they do it playing the way they are right now. They get up in weight class. Even though the Raiders aren't that good of a team, the quarterback is probably the best of all the worst quarterbacks they played this year. It's a tough road for the Patriots if we're going to get to the playoffs, Phil.